Chapter 3. Ugh. You got it. 9 should know. Your sis is better at tracking than I ever was. Doesn't look like it. Shh. Rusty is all. I just woke up. Just turn on the state boundaries. Fine. I don't need them, but fine. Wow, I never really noticed before, but Florida looks like crap. How so? What would you change about it? Ha, got him. Woo, shit, lady, you threw a dart. Fucking beautiful. They haven't gotten far at all. Tough navigating the suburbs, I'm sure, especially carrying 9 footballs. Oh yeah, that explains the backpacks. You know, when we were drawing up this game, we thought about making bags illegal. In the end, we decided to allow them. I kinda regret that now. It would be fun to see them bumble around Georgia with armloads of footballs. At one point, I wanted to replace the football with a glass of lemonade. Don't spill the lemonade. Who doesn't enjoy a glass of delicious lemonade? Do you even care about the gameplay experience? I think it's very, very obvious that I don't. Anyways, let's listen in. On their private conversation, I wanted to say something earlier. I don't feel good about that. Nah, it's fine. All the players agreed to be mic'd up. Whenever this game actually ends, it's going to make for the best documentary series of all time. Besides, you know someone out there is probably listening in on us, guaranteed. Bzzzt. No, see, that's 3212 Forest Run, the Stucco House. That's 3214 Forest Run. Wait, is this Forest Run Drive or Forest Run Trail? Forest Run Drive. Who named these goddamn streets? We gotta get out of this state. Okay, here we go. We're right here. Right about the 53,900th yard line. Figure 2,851, Georgia Tech Field. 53,900 yard line north to 54,600 yard line north. Notes compiled by Nicholas Navarro, SDSU, May 20K13. Public swimming pool, open May through September only. 2. Mr. Devereaux's house, believed to be related to the Devereaux family, who lives near the 13,000 west yard line on the Kentucky field. 3. Unknown inhabitants are gardeners who frequent their backyard, friendly with Georgia Tech's football team, will report unrecognized players. 4. Potential safe house, has been vacant for at least 75 years, apparently due to poor renovation work. Okay, this snuck up on me. Safe house is about 500 yards out from us, 600 yards out. Feel like we should move. We're a little exposed here. Should be okay. I don't see anyone out and around right now, as long as we can make it past number 3 up there. Think they're out gardening? Nah, if I remember right, they grow a lot of squash mostly. Which means what? It's October. You think they're planting squash in Georgia in fucking October? Why would I know that? Why would I know that? Because you're playing in Georgia. You've been playing in Georgia for 30 years, and you have to know this kind of shit. I sent you to read all the time, and you never read it. Lol, there they go again. I think we're done here. Listen, I don't hit you over the head with all the shit I know. I know all about chess. I don't spend all day going like, oh, Nick, what's a back rank, mate? What's a retes, mate? What's a smothered, mate? It's about to be you in a minute. Bzzzt. They're wild, man. People don't change. They don't ever change. Page 31,407. Yeah? They were stuck in that condor for 30 years and they didn't have much else to do but scout the field. This game sucks so fucking bad, man. Everything I've seen so far is tedium. Watching, waiting, marching, sitting around. Football was supposed to replace war, not emulate it. I'd encourage you to give it a shot and watch more of it before you decide it sucks. Because while you will invariably conclude that it sucks, your reasons for thinking it sucks might very well change. Fair, you were going to tell us about the loophole. Yes! I think it's probably best to back way up there. A few years before this game kicked off in 804, we issued ball invites to all the teams, including one that still makes me laugh. Whore. Now, technically, it would have been possible for Hawaii to play. Motorized vehicles of any kind are prohibited, but teams are allowed to use rowboats, canoes, etc. By the way, lots of fields go over lakes. Lake football is fucking awesome, and we'll get to that eventually. Anyways, the members of the ball committee loved my pitch for this game until they realized that including Hawaii would make this way, way more of a seafaring game than any of them wanted. And remember, the game doesn't end until one team has every single football, and since every team gets a football at the start, you can't really avoid the Hawaii problem. After a lot of haggling, they managed to effectively disqualify Hawaii by making all ocean territories out of bounds. Hawaii withdrew as a result. Being a thorough completionist, I was disappointed by this, but I respected their decision. However, in making the oceans out of bounds, they effectively kneecapped San Diego State. Originally, SDSU did have one intersection, this one with Stanford. But if you look off in the distance, you'll see that Stanford's field has to pass through the ocean to get there. Once oceans were taken out of play, intersection removed, San Diego State had an orphan field. But unlike Hawaii, SDSU refused to withdraw. They lobbied for every rule they could think of. They wanted to redraw their field so it bent at an angle. Of course, I firmly opposed that, because it would have compromised the comically literal spirit of the game. So then, they wanted to open up Mexico so their field could go a little further south and make an intersection, but Mexico wanted no part of it. Then, they tried to make air travel illegal, which would have been cool, but it was a particular variant of stupid that didn't interest me as much. They couldn't push anything through, but the fact remained that they had a football and they weren't going to give it up. We had to find a way to make SDSU somehow accessible without jeopardizing the spirit of the game, and that is why I came up with out of bounds time, or OBT. This is how out of bounds works. If you step out of bounds, or you're shoved out of bounds, you have exactly 10 seconds to return to the field of play, and if you fail to do this, you're automatically permanently ejected from the game, no exceptions. Now, since it was clear from the jump that this game was going to take centuries, you can imagine how much of a bummer this could be for players and fans, because, I mean, in certain spots, there was a real easy fall off the field. Take, for example, for the Fresno State 1.430760 million yard line north. Whew. Sucks ass, sucks real bad. You're on such a slant that you could trip, fall down the mountain, and not make it back in time. What if you're a star running back and this happens to you? I mean, imagine how much of a damn zealot you'd have to be to play this game for. I don't know, 1,000 years? And then you take one wobbly step and it's all gone. Your whole life, your whole identity gone. To help mitigate the odds of this happening, I introduced out of bounds time. Out of bounds time is simple. For every year you spend on the field, you're granted 1 extra second of it. 1 second per year, so 1 second per 31,536,000 seconds. Yeah, and I know it doesn't sound like much, but if you've played 1,000 years, shit, do the math, you've almost got 17 minutes of OBT time saved up. More than enough time to make your way back, in most cases. This goes a long way toward keeping our best players in the game. And there's the loophole. You got it. Damn, that was good. Hey, when you're camping, you're allowed to cook eggs in the bacon grease. That's the rules. Sorry they came out all fucked up looking. Though, cast iron skillets aren't good for eggs. I don't care what they look like, really. Give me a plate. Okay, thanks. Whoa, hey, what are you doing? What? You're not supposed to use soap on a cast iron skillet. It doesn't matter. It does. No, it doesn't. You know my whole thing on this. What's that? Every few years, some article comes out that's saying, listen, folks, I see that you're out here washing your cast iron skillets with soap. No, just no. Then someone else will write something like, yes, you can. Then someone's like, we performed an experiment to see who's right once and for all. But you don't remember what they found out. Nobody knows who's right, and people just internalize the last thing they read and forget about the whole thing. And a few years later, this happens all over again. This happened for 18,000 years. No, just no is such a good one. I might start saying that again, just to say it, just to annoy me. Either that or I can't even. What the hell? Let's bring back the 1900s. Let's check out one of the balls. I don't know. We should probably put this fire out soon. Come on, the backfield's empty. No one's coming back this way. We said one. We said every night we could check out one of them. All right, yeah. Want to pick one? I don't know. Just reach into the bag and take one. I can't believe we got 9 of them. It feels so fucking weird, man. Like, this is like, I mean, how many times has a ball carrier carried this many? Has it ever happened? I wouldn't be surprised if it's never happened. And even if it did, it was probably some big 50-person unit or something. We're just 2 dudes. I mean, what do we do if we run into a defense and we have to line up at a scrimmage? What the fuck does that like? What kind of fucking play do we run? There's a reason we don't have a play for it, right? It's impossible. We are fast though. We don't know if anyone's got more speed than us. Here, I'm gonna draw this up. Draw it up. This'll be funny. Oh god, how many defenders are we running into? I mean, once word gets out these balls are missing, everyone's gonna send everybody after us. Let's say 100. I'm not gonna draw 100. 50 then. Yep. Well, haha, fuck. This is enough for 14 on the line, 26 in the secondary, 77 way back in the sort of prevent defense, and then just for the hell of it, if I were them, I'd put 3 more 100 yards back just for safety, have them hide in trees or something and ambush us. Well, we got just enough people to snap a football. All 9 though. You'll have to snap all 9, so that means no shotgun. Jesus, we did not plan for 9. All those years, I mean, I remember a couple of times. Remember I said to you, what if there's 2 or 3? Can't believe they'd be that stupid. It's like we said, they got sloppy. They thought there was no way a player could make it into Atlanta without getting made. Then what probably happened is they found out about another ball out there and just sent a whole house after them. Well, hope they get that one. Pretty soon they'll be missing every one of these. Come on, let's see one. All right, let me see if I can figure out how to work this. Where's my phone? You want me to call it? Oh, nah, it was right here. I think after you open the app, you just have to give it a minute to pair. Then it's got to be like right next to the ball. You got to hold it right up to it. All right, okay. What's it say? Ball ND. This is the Notre Dame football. Oh damn. They're one of the goose eggs, right? Let me pull up the scoreboard real fast. ND. Oh yeah, they're way down there. Below us. They're at 0. I feel like they fell to 0 real fast too, like the first 100 years of the game. I think so. They lost this ball early and never got it back. I never once seen them move up the ranks. Notre Dame used to be good too. I'm talking like way back, like in the 1900s. No shit. Oh yeah, they lost a lot of titles in old football, I think anyway. Or they won a lots of titles in old football, I think anyway. I never watched football back then. I only really know about them because for some reason they'd be on national TV. Like I'd turn on the game one afternoon and they were playing. Even in a year when they weren't even good. And I'm like, I'm in California. Who the fuck is Notre Dame? Ooh, you know what I'd bet I can do? Look at this. You can hit the history tab and see where it's been. Oh shit, look. Whoa. The lines show everywhere this ball has been, and the dots. I think the dots show every time it was hidden, or at least every time it stayed in the same place for a while. Yeah, it's just like you said. It started in Notre Dame, but it only stayed up there for 76 years. Then stopped number 2s in Louisville. I guess Louisville went and took it. Must have, yeah. They took it back to Cardinal Stadium, kept it there for like 400 years. Then either someone bum rushed their stadium and got a turnover, or Louisville decided to try to hide it somewhere else. Look at number 3 there, somewhere in southern Illinois. That's not anywhere near a stadium. That would have been in, let me do the math. Game started in 17804 plus 76 years plus 414 years. I guess it got to point 3 in the late 183rd century. Someone just let it sit there for 17 years. Teams were experimenting with that back then. Just hide it in a tree in the middle of nowhere. Way less secure than stashing it in your stadium, obviously, but at least you don't have a target on your back. Stupid, yeah. Same time though, that's how old football was too. When it first was invented, teams would punt on like second down. They carried their field position more than the ball. No shit. You know that shit was still on the books. If we wanted to, next time we run into a teammate and have to play a scrimmage, we could just punt. What would that do? Oh, jack shit. Absolutely nothing. I guess they just wanted to stay as true to the old football as they could. Huh. Meanwhile, we're eating dinner at the 70,000-yard line. It's funny, man. The highway's like, what, 100 yards or something away? About. You see these cars go by, and you've got to figure, just playing the numbers, that every third person who goes by is a big football fan. If not more, right? Probably more. And they've got no idea that the biggest thing in football is happening right fucking here. They're driving right past it. When I was a little kid, my family just had one car. My mom would have to drive my dad to work, drive him back home, then later she'd have to go get him again. And his job was like an hour away, and me and my sister were too little to stay at home by ourselves, so we'd have to come along in the car every time. I'd bring along books and stuff, but I'd get car sick looking at them. And a lot of times I couldn't sleep, so I'd just look out the window. When you're on the interstate, there's nothing to look at but trees, really. I try to count the trees, but there are just too many, and they go by way too fast, way too many. So then I just wonder what those trees were all about. Were they always there? Did somebody have to go plant them all? I mean, I was a little kid, so I didn't know this stuff. Was it somebody's job to go plant these trees? How far did they go back? What was behind them? Did anyone live back there in a log cabin? What was going on? Then you get a little older and you just keep your eyes on the road. You got more important things to do and you just don't care anymore. You know, it's just trees. But now, here we are. Here is a very brief history of Nick and Manny. It's New Year's Day, 17804, the first day of new college football. It's all anyone in America is talking about. Teams all over the country are busting out the stadium gates with designs on building their football empires. But not San Diego State, the orphaned mockery of a football team. It's the distance between SDSU's southern terminus and the Boise State southern terminus is 4.88 miles, 8,581 yards, so nearly 86 football fields. Even for human beings, this was too much of a waste of time, so most SDSU players didn't even show up. Some signed up and quit just so they could say they were football players once, but not Nick and Manny. For 1,500 years, they dutifully stayed on the field, endlessly cross-training through the mountains and improving their 5-mile run time. Then one day, in 19304, with 25 minutes saved up apiece, they went for broke. Their pace was unlike anything the sport had ever seen. They both maintained a 3-minute 53-mile pace for nearly 5 miles. They made it in 1857. Nick and Manny spent their following centuries roaming other fields, scouting, spying, gaining intel, looking for a big score, all the while saving up more OBT. No one bothered them much because they were SDSU players. No one accounted for them. No one even recognized them. They knew Georgia Tech had some footballs, and they wanted to let the condo as a lookout post. But think about it: Atlanta's a city full of football fans. and nobody's going to sell a condo on that field, that close to the stadium, to somebody who might be an opposing player. So they had to build up a history that they lived in Connaught, then Woodstock, then Boswell, then Duluth, then Fayetteville, all throughout the area. Soon they had hundreds of years of horrendous history established, that they were just ordinary Georgia folk. Then they finally settled down and bought that condo, and always a big moment in the young couple's life. They're like 18,000 years old. Yeah, 18,000 out of how many? A trillion, billion, 100 times infinity? They're all babies. Anyways, they were planning on staying in that condo for a very long time, but then they saw that the drop the other day and realized they couldn't pass it up. Now this is where they stand. Nick and Manny have 1,079 seconds of OBT. That's 17 minutes and 59 seconds. In order to make the return trip, they're going to have to shave about a minute off their previous time. They'll have to do this while carrying 9 footballs. 9. Do you think they can do it? Provided they can even get across the country with those footballs in the first place. I'll be honest with you. I don't.